Colonel James Betts, the National Chief Secretary for the Salvation Army, is with me now. Colonel, good morning to you. Appreciate your time.
Good morning, Markie. Thank you for having me.
For starters, can you just kind of walk us through the kind of need, the magnitude of the need that you're seeing on the ground right now?
It's incredibly tremendous. There are so many people that are hurting, that are in crisis, that are struggling to figure out what comes next, both in their immediate needs. Where do I get my next meal? Where am I going to stay tonight? And then, of course, they're worried. They're full of anxiety in regard to what comes next with their homes and how to restore their homes and how to kind of figure out what the next season of life is going to look like for them and their families.
Yeah. So would you say, is shelter the biggest need right now? Is it, food and 3 meals a day? What's the biggest need, and what are they telling you directly?
Those are certainly two of the biggest needs. And in some cases, we're able to help to come alongside other nonprofit partners to make sure there's a roof over people's heads, there's food in their belly. But we're also finding that people are needing someone to talk to, someone to help to alleviate their fears, to give them some comfort, to restore some hope that they're not in this alone, that we'll walk alongside them, that we'll make sure that we help to find out where the gaps are in their needs and see what we can do to fill those gaps.
And speaking of just having somebody to talk to, are there mental health professionals, counselors that are readily available for these families and the displaced? Is that something the Salvation Army provides?
The Salvation Army starts with what is closest to our heart. We are a faith organization, we're a Christian organization, so we have officers, ordained clergy who are in those shelters, who are breaking bread with people in need. They're offering emotional and spiritual help. In some case, offering prayer. During disasters, you often hear people say, my thoughts and prayers are with you, and people say, well, what's next? Well, the Salvation Army works very hard to not only offer that thoughts and prayers and conversations, but then roll up our sleeves and say, okay, what do you need next? Is it a meal? We can do that. We can break bread with you. But in some cases, the shelter comes in the form of, I have a family member across the country, but I have no way to get there. And so the Army would step into that gap and say, okay, well, let me help you get a plane ticket or bus fare to get to your family member's house. So we want to step in and listen, have conversations so that when they express what their true needs are, we can help to meet those, either through services of the Salvation Army or those of our partners.
Yeah, and meet these families where they currently are right now. How do you, as a charitable organization, even, prepare and plan for the long haul here, right? Because it could take weeks, months, years before some of these families get to go back to some sort of home.
You're exactly right. The Salvation Army has a unique gift as it comes to disasters, and that is that we are present in those neighborhoods all the time. We are their neighbors. So the Salvation Army, through our 6,200 service centers across the country, are present and serving every zip code year-round. So when a disaster strikes, we don't have to come in to begin to provide assistance. We just stand up. We come alongside our neighbor and do all that we can. And then for the long haul, there is not an exodus of the Salvation Army per se, but we continue to serve alongside our neighbors, defining who is my neighbor and what is their need.
Well, it's beautiful and critical work that you're doing. And Colonel James Betts, I really thank you for your time. I know you've got a full plate, so appreciate a few minutes on your Wednesday morning.
If I could just add, if anybody wants to be of assistance, but don't feel like, they wouldn't be in a position to come. More people would not be helpful in the disaster zone. Right. But if they want us to serve as their conduit of compassion here, they can call 1-800-SAL-ARMY or go to salvationarmyusa.org. And I would also point out, if you're in need of assistance, you could go to 562 or call this number, 562-264-3600.
562-264-3600. Okay, Colonel, I'll share that widely. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.